we're going to dive into it and just jump into what we're talking about. Let me go ahead and put this on the screen. If you're not familiar, I have been building up, and not alone, mind you. There's been a number of people who've contributed to this. As a matter of fact, it's all contributed. I'll explain it as we go. But we've been building up the, what is now the 18-point Black male political agenda since 2020. So it's been 4 years since we've been developing this. And it is basically a list of policy proposals that Black men themselves have written. I have only done the lightest amount of editing on these in terms of, making sure the grammar is correct to some extent or whatever. I don't think it's egregious, but I didn't go through and, reform the ideas. I wanted it to come through as authentic as it has in terms of the brothers who've written it. So, these are all policy proposals sent in by Black men themselves, right? Shout out to MLR for another super chat. Much appreciated. Supporting Black male media scholars as usual. Thank you. So as you can see, as of February 9th, right, we have the now 18-point Black male political agenda. And this can go up to as many points as relevant. It can go as high as it needs to. It's all about policy ideas that work to advance us. So you can see it's been updated as to February 9th, right? And this is the streamlined list, right? Which is hyperlinked. So you can go through that and you can see all of the different components on there. And the ones with the highest number of sub points, right, are number 1, family court reform, and number 6, criminal law reform and law enforcement, right? But these are the basic components of the 18-point Black male political agenda. And so you can go through all of these and look at what brothers are proposing. And so we're doing this so that, especially during this presidential year, right, when people actually come to us and say, well, what does it take to get the Black vote, the Black male vote at that? Well, I've heard for years brothers agreeing that we need to make a serious pivot from just voting Democrat to voting in the interest of our policy interests. But the problem we've had, in my assessment, is we don't really articulate what those policy interests are. You got plenty of people that are doing this in regard to, Black community politics, which is fine. But I do think that as demographics are going to start articulating their own political interests, we've seen this with not only Black women, we've seen this with Black LGBT, so on and so forth. It really hasn't dawned on us, what policies would benefit Black men, right? And so in that, we developed this list so Black men themselves can articulate what kinds of things would be beneficial. And most of these are written by brothers who are going through something related to their proposal, which is what I encourage. And I still encourage it. If you have ideas, please feel free to send them to me. And, as long as we can agree that they're beneficial in some way, and particularly if you can send some data points that highlights why this is important, we can go ahead and add it. So we have these 18 different areas. And shout out to MS Delta. Appreciate the generous support. Says Year of the Dragon, keep spitting fire and knowledge. Real talk. Planning on doing so. Premium Toy Collect. You can download it. It is accessible. I will put the link right now in the chat. If you have any trouble, all you got to do is put in Black male political agenda. It is the only one you're going to find. Now, we did know last year Stacey Abrams had a Black male agenda that we thought was interesting, but all it was it was related to Georgia, is what Democrats were going to do for everybody. So she just targeted it to Black men, that she was trying to secure the Black male vote. And there's no way that you can use Google and put in Black male agenda and not come up with this list. You can download it. I hope you share it, most particularly. And if you're going to cite it or use it in any kind of discussion, please just credit where it came from so we can continue to build. We got 300 watching. Make sure you hit the like button. We're on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitch, and Twitter, or X, and of course on YouTube. So make sure you support the show. But anyway, you can see. So the last point we were at for the 17-point agenda for the longest was the Black men's rights to self-defense. And again, shout out to Brother Douglas for proposing that. You can read through that and check out what he was talking about. But the latest one to be added is the false accusation offender registry. And these are not long. They're not long. they're written in common tongue. So they're easily accessible. You don't need to have multiple degrees to be able to understand what they're talking about. There's usually data included, but this one is pretty straightforward. But if you have data that you think would be relevant or necessary, or if you just have questions about some data that you think should be in there, feel free to communicate that, and I'll consider adding that. Real quick too, just so you can kind of see what's going on with it. Hold on. I don't think that made it better. Let me get back to you. All right. So just real quick, I want you to see when you see the bullet points, or I'm sorry, the footnotes, references right there, 13 and 1. You just scroll down a little bit. You can see the contributors. Now, these are the brothers that opted to be named. They were all asked. If you have a policy proposal, but you don't want your name on it, that's absolutely fine. Just request to remain anonymous, and I can put it up here. So you do have anonymous points added to this agenda where the creators of it did not want to be named. Shout out to Dark Power for the support on the Cash App. Appreciate that. Also, shout out to Guy for the support. Says he has a new point. Okay, mandatory minimum fines for banks found guilty of discriminatory practices against any racial group. Let's start at $100 million. Interesting. Okay. Definitely have to return to that one. Appreciate that. Hey, if you can email it to me, hassan.johnson@gmail.com. Please go ahead and do that. That's the easiest way. That way I can have it in writing, because I don't want to misremember what you're proposing or misunderstand it, something of that nature. So I try to keep it in the tongue that you wrote it in. But as you can see, these are the brothers that have contributed and wanted to be acknowledged, or at least submitted to being acknowledged. So working backward from the bottom, Carnell Smith, who I've had on the show, shout out to Carnell, made some proposals. We got Douglas, who we're going to be looking at his proposal today. Lamont, AAI, irvineP made an interesting proposal earlier in there. Charles, Officer Faulkner, regular of the show. You should all know Dennis Sperling. Shout out to Dennis. Chief in the South, Brian, Tristan, Stewart, David, Adam was another friend of the show. I haven't seen him in a minute, but I hope he's well. And of course, BGS Ibmore.
I'm going to pause it right there before we get back into it. But welcome back to Breakdown Friday. I'm Joseph Ward, Professor Carl Tone Jones, Patrick Irvin. And today we have the privilege of diving into and breaking down Dr. T. Hassan Johnson's Black Male Political Agenda, the new 18-point Black Male Political Agenda. And I stopped it right there because these are 14 of the contributors to the Black Male Agenda, like Dr. T. Hassan Johnson said, that wanted to be acknowledged. So Dr. T. Hassan Johnson, these men, and a host of other men have contributed to this Black Male Political Agenda. And it's about time. It's about time that we have something like this for Black men, giving us a foundation, some legs to stand on, but something to use to spur us forward, and it gives us a foundation. It gives us room. It gives us the, I guess, a pathway to move forward as men, and what we want to do, what we need to do, why we need to do it, so we can get to fixing things in our community. But also, it's a focus on Black men. It's an actual focus on Black men, and it's Black men focusing on Black men. But also, we're coming to the proverbial table with a plan of action, with the Black Male Political Agenda. And we're actually going to be diving into this Black Male Political Agenda. Of course, it's 18 points. We're not going to get into all 18 points today. Of course, we can do an overview of all 18 points. We're not going to be able to dive deep into it, but we are going to get into this Black Male Political Agenda because I've been wanting to do this for a while, and the time is now. So before we get into it, remember to like this video, comment, subscribe, share. Make sure as many people, seriously, with this video, with all our videos, but make sure as many people and as many men as possible get to see this video, get to see this breakdown. Make sure you all visit Dr. T. Hassan Johnson's website. If you just type in Black Male Political Agenda, type in Dr. T. Hassan Johnson, Hassan Johnson, T. Hassan Johnson, Black Male Political Agenda. Type it in Google, it'll come up. And like you said, you can actually download this political agenda, but it's accessible and it's something that all Black men need to have access to and go through. And as you can hear, he's saying you can contribute to it. So make sure you check that out. And I want to give a shout out to Gary Hall. Thank you, Gary Hall, for the Cash App. I appreciate you. I appreciate all the support that everybody gives me. So a special shout out to Mr. Gary Hall for the Cash App. So I want to start with this question here. PC, why is it important for Black men to have our own political agenda?
Well, I mean, to be succinct, Black men have been the most warred upon demographic since the institution of chattel slavery.
Mm-hmm.
So the war has not stopped on destroying not just the physical essence of Black men, but our public image and socially, economically. And I think that for the most part, it's time. Every other group, every other demographic has created a list or prioritized their specific needs. And I think it's telling that, especially in our community, when it's up to Black women, when it comes to supporting Black women, whether it's politically or otherwise, everybody is expected to jump on board. And the biggest cheerleaders in most cases are Black men in regards to being supportive. How many times have you heard Black men saying things like, it's important that we show respect and honor to our women. The women are the backbone of the community, and things of that nature. And I think this interesting because even in policies or political agendas that are damaging to Black men, if as long as it's seen as something that pushes Black women forward, then it's a lot of brothers will suffer the indignity, or they will willfully accept, or won't even acknowledge the sacrifices that we'll have to make in order to make that push forward.
Right.
Other groups have come in and created slush funds for Black women particularly.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have a problem, and I don't have a problem with that if it wasn't for the types of things that happen on the other end of that, which is these are things that are typically used as shaming tactics towards Black men for not being able to obtain those gains for themselves. And often put, I find it ironic that Black men get juxtaposed into this flat maleness. Shout out to Tia San Johnson for coming up with that term, for, in terms of actually getting all the benefits of men, when we know that Black men do not get the same benefits or gains, or nearly the same benefits of gains of white men who are the standard bearers in Western society. So I find it rich that it's assumed that just because we share the same types of genitals, that
the same privileges.
That we get the same privileges, we get the same perks, we get the same status. When, if you just look at the social political landscape over the last 20, 30 years, you can go back to the Rodney King incident and just keep moving forward in terms of the public annihilation and humiliation of Black men at the hands of other white men in society, and so forth. The lack of protections for Black men. It's time. And like I said, I think it's rich because when we talk to our sisters, they get to identify as a double minority. They don't get put in the category of flat female, as one flat woman, like one group of women. They identify as also one of the things that's used to discriminate against them is the fact that they are black. So,
Same thing with us.
right. Well, but we don't get that privilege, and
Right.
we don't. And so, and even still, you just go back to the last presidential election when black men were told that since the choice of the community, the choice of the sisterhood was not validated by us, which, you know, the numbers didn't say that, but anyway, that many members of our community wished death on black men at the hands of white police officers, white vigilantes, and so forth. I think that all those things taken into consideration, plus a numerous amount of others, has created the circumstances where black men understand that we need to save ourselves. So that's why
SPM.
that's why SBM, right? Save yourself, black men. And this is in this particular policy, we're not only looking out for black men now, but looking out for the future of black men. So,
but not only the future of black men, but black black men saving ourselves, we ultimately save our community.
yeah. I mean, that goes hand in hand. So the policies that were put together by that 18-point agenda, and I wouldn't be surprised if by the end of the year it's in the 20s.
Expanded, yeah.
Because the brainstorming and the academic research that's been put in, and I mean, every one of those points speaks to an area that we need political agendas for.
Yeah.
So with that, I'll land because I know we want to hear from Pat as well on this particular topic.
It's about time we stand up. It's about time we have a voice. It's about time we have legs to actually stand on. Black men need to be in the position of power. Black men, we have to have some kind of positions of power. We have to have some kind of leverage. We have to have some kind of resources to be able to navigate the world that we're in. We understand that this world is a dog-eat-dog world at the end of the day. Like, take away the fairy dust, take away the curtains, take away the smoking screen, take away the Hollywood set, take away all that. Like, it's a dog-eat-dog world, and whoever is powerless is going to get stepped on. That's why black men are looked at the way we're looked at. We're in the position we're in. We're talked about the way we're talked about. We're not respected by even our own women and or children. So it's time for us to get ourselves up, to pick each other up and stand up. And this is a great start. Shout out to Dr. T. Hassan Johnson and all of the contributors. Pat, in your opinion, from your life experiences, from your adult experiences, professional experiences, why would you say this black man political agenda is needed?
Well, it's needed for all the reasons that have been illustrated by PC and in the short clip by Dr. Johnson. I will say nobody's above the smoke, though. I disagree because I disagree with everybody. I disagree with him because when he said that you can't Google black male agenda and not come up with the list, I Googled black male agenda and the list did not come up. So let me start there. I mean, it showed up on page 2, but I had to go all the way to page 2.
That's your grievance.
Who's going to page 2 for Google? You know what I'm saying? Like it's not, it ain't right. Secondly, it's on WordPress. That might be why it's on page 2. Hey, Dr. Johnson, I know a guy that knows a guy. You know what I'm saying? We can get you off WordPress. All right. So all that being said, I also disagree. Some of them agendas ain't black male agendas. They are in general good people agendas. And I don't want no in general good people agendas when I'm talking about black males. I want black male specifics. All right.
Okay.
Now that I've made sure that nobody can say that I don't give everybody the same energy. I think it's important. Like I read through because the list was first published a few years ago, I think I saw. And I can't remember when the first time I saw it was, but I have seen it before this show. So, and one of the points that I thought um, was interesting when I first read through the list was the points that spoke specifically to the challenges that black males face when entering into the realm of fatherhood. And of course, that resonated with me deeply, being somebody that has been a single male or a single father with my three boys for a period of time, and then has had to maneuver in that space. It's those challenges that you face as a male working through the system, particularly as a black male, trying to get some of the same benefits that they literally like thrust at black women or at women in general, period. Um, it is amazing. Like even stuff like WIC, like women, infant, and children, they mean that. Like they mean that.
Mm-hmm.
My boys could get WIC, but I couldn't.
That's crazy.
And you don't think about stuff like that until you're in that situation where you're like, there was a situation where I'm talking to a young lady at the time who was in similar circumstances to me, but she got more assistance than I did on the WIC program at the time because she was a woman and I was a man. So she got assistance for her. I only got assistance for my children. And this ain't no theoretical, speculative shit. Like this is like a real world situation that happened to me. Uh, roughly about 15, 16, about roughly 15 years ago. So you look at situations like that, and it's like it was mind blowing at the time. You mean to tell me because I have a phallus, I can't get particular types of aid?
That's crazy.
So, I'm thinking about there was a situation where I was applying for food stamps because your boy wasn't always doing what he doing. You feel me? And
Well, that's what I was gonna ask. I was gonna ask you that question about food stamps.
yeah, so when the first time I applied for food stamps with my boys, first off, the interaction I had with the person doing taking the application, calling me back for more information, the caseworker or the case manager or whatever. Um, it was a very hostile interaction. The interaction was tinged with a tint of like you broke lazy nigga. Excuse my language. But what's wrong with you? Why can't you go get a job? And then the conversation shifted to where's their mother? And it wasn't on the standpoint of deadbeat mom by my mom. It was on the standpoint of did you abduct your kids? Like, are
Right.
you legally do you have legal custody of your children? Well, yes. Like, what? Why wouldn't I have legal custody? Who's running around stealing children for food stamps?
And they literally asked you that?
Yes. And it wasn't just being asked the question. I can understand tonation if you're asking the question because you have to ask the question. Cool, whatever. I understand forums got all kinds of dumb questions on them. And they might not be dumb, generally speaking. We understand each one of those questions serves a purpose. But as somebody being asked the question, we relegate certain questions as dumb because they don't apply to us or anybody we know. And from that standpoint, I didn't know anybody that was kidnapping children to apply for food stamps. Not no man, anyways. So, but the tonation behind the question was very disrespectful, and I remember that. Even though we're talking about uh, well over 10 years ago now. Well over 10 years ago. We're eking we're on the other side of, yeah. So I still remember the tonation of it and the disrespect dripping off of the phrasing of it as she said what she said to me, and just the oozing disrespect throughout the conversation because here I am, a man applying for benefits. So those types of things. And then when I got benefits, and I don't know how the system works now, but I know back then there was a formula for it. And so when I finally got benefits, even the benefits I received were reduced. They were less than the benefits that some of the females that I knew that were in similar situations to me with that they were getting.